Okay, I'm back, kiddo. All right, next up, I think this will probably be the last video on this bike ride, at least. Last question I looked at was, what was the scariest moment from your childhood? I would say yeah, your uncles used to scare the shit out of me, but I don't think that necessarily traumatized me. This one didn't traumatize me, but it was extremely scary. Yeah, I got one. So, you may have heard this one before. Tutu and Papa had some good friends. I think their last name was the Gurkies. I don't remember, but they had a daughter named Miranda, who I actually went to school with all throughout high school, graduated with. But Tutu and Papa were friends with them, or at least Papa was good friends with, I think her dad's name was Roger. And so Miranda would come over and play, and I'd go over there and play. We were really young. We were like, I don't know, first, second grade, somewhere in there, maybe even younger. I'm not exactly sure. Oh geez, I have like 3 scary moments now that I think about it. I'll finish this story first. So the first one, Miranda came over, and I don't remember, I think Tutu and Papa were inside and Miranda and I were outside. We were doing something, but for some reason or another, we got into the car. Tutu and Papa had this big vehicle. I want to say it was a Dodge, maybe a Dodge Dart. It's, if I remember right, big old boat of a car, huge thing. And pretty sure it was an automatic. Yeah, I don't remember. But anyways, so Miranda was in the driver's seat and I was in the passenger seat up front, and we were playing around, you know, acting like we were adults. Miranda was acting like she was driving, and she grabbed the shifter and she pulled it to the side. And basically, as soon as she did that, she pulled it into neutral. And we were up at Tutu and Papa's house, and you have to remember, there wasn't like a flat concrete parking pad up there like there is now. It was gravel, but it was sloped back towards the driveway. And so she put it into neutral, and as soon as she did that, it started going backwards, like really slowly. And both of us were like, oh, you know, like surprised. And it started going faster and faster. You know, I mean, this all happened within a matter of seconds. And I said, oh no, get out. And I opened up my door and I jumped out. And the car kept going. It was going faster and faster because obviously there's more slope and it was gaining momentum. And I yelled, I said, Miranda, get out. And it took her forever to get out, but she finally opened the door. And when she jumped out, the car was actually moving kind of fast. And she just, I mean, she fell out of that driver's door like a sack of shit. And the car actually, like the front tire actually ran over her leg. I shouldn't laugh. It was pretty horrible and traumatizing to watch that. And she jumped out in the nick of time because like just a second later, I mean, it went over the hill, that hill, you know, like the big curve at the driveway there where it turns. And it went over the hill, and I think it ended up hitting a tree, you know, 20 feet down or something. But she's really lucky that, you know, I guess she's lucky. I don't know if necessarily that she would have been hurt, but she could have been, you know, it could have been really bad. And that was terrifying. So that was probably one of the first scariest moments. The second other moment I'm thinking of was actually at her house, at the Gerke's house, if I remember right. They had a bunch of chickens and one rooster. And I don't remember what happened. I think I was like outside by myself, but that rooster did not like me for 1 second. Like nobody else was out there. And that rooster chased me. I think it pecked me a couple times. And I was crying and screaming and I ran inside. And yeah, I don't think I went back over there after that. That damn rooster. Yeah, so not good core memory vibes with old Miranda, that's for sure, huh? Then I got another one that was definitely, yeah, this is scary. It was probably all around the same age. Man, I got freaking all kinds of weird stuff around that age. So this one, I was over at the Wagner's house. I was good friends with these twins, Matt and Mark Wagner. And they lived down the road and they had like a goat farm. Really gross, kind of, yeah, they had chicken. I think they had chickens. They had a bunch of shit. But Mark and Matt were characters. I really liked hanging out with them. They're kind of rough and tough brothers. Anyways, so they'd come over. I think Tutu or Papa did some business with their dad, Wally. That's a whole nother story. But anyways, so, you know, they'd come up, hang out, vice versa, we do the same. And so what was really cool is they had, you know, they had all these goats and a farm, but they had a bunch of acreage. And I'm pretty sure they had like a four-wheeler. And so I'd go over there and we would just go and have a heck of a time on the four-wheeler, riding around, running around in the field, messing with the goats, all kind of stuff, you know. And one day, I don't know what happened exactly. I don't think we were on the four-wheeler. Maybe Matt and Mark had to do some chores inside of the barn, you know, feed the goats or something. But we were in the barn for whatever reason. And there's a lot of goats. I mean, there's probably, if I had to guess, maybe like 15 goats, 20 goats, something like that. And so we were in there, they were doing their chores or whatever. And then the billy goat, I think that's what it's called, I don't know, a male, a tough alpha male, was getting sick of us being in there and was like starting to be aggressive. And I think he was like doing stuff to kind of let the boys and me know to get the hell out of there. And I don't know if he started like ramming us or hitting stuff, but Matt and Mark were terrified and they started running and they jumped over the fence. And I didn't really know what was happening, so I chased them because I think they were yelling for me to run and get out. And I was just too slow to the punch because I had no idea what was going on. I had never been around goats like that before. And I was running and I went to jump over the fence, you know, just like a cattle fence or whatever the heck it was. And that billy goat smashed me right in my ass when I was halfway up, which prevented me from getting over the fence, obviously. And I dropped down to the ground and that billy goat proceeded to just smash me up against the fence. It had to have hit me. I mean, I remember it pretty vividly. I got hit at least 3 times. He was just like smashing me up against the fence. And I was screaming and crying and losing my little mind. And then finally, I think somebody came out yelling, either Mark and Matt had got Wally or Setsuko, their mom. But they broke it up. But man, they gave me enough time to scramble out of there, at least. That was terrifying. I mean, honestly, I thought that I was going to die. I'd never experienced pain like that or brutality like that. So yeah, that's another scary moment in Casey's young childhood. So anyways, hope you like those. So I think that about does it for this one. Went on a little bit long, but pretty funny memories. Or scary funny memories. All right, kiddo. Well, catch you on the next one. I think that'll about do it for this edition. So see you later. Love you. Bye.